All right, so Rube Goldberg project. Here we go. Rube Goldberg project. You can do just about anything that you want on it, and it can be as big or as small, or as strange or as creative as you want it to be. And it's all really limited to just your imagination and the materials that you can gather. So let's talk about some materials that are commonly used and how you can utilize them. First of all, any type of sphere. So it could be softball, golf ball, marble, ball bearing, anything like that. Because they roll, they are able to be utilized very well, and because of their shape, they overcome the force of friction very easily. So any type of ball or something that can roll easily is a great resource to have, because you can set it on something and allow gravity to naturally let it roll along, and it will continue your chain reaction. All right. Simple things like cardboard tubes. So you can use tubes from toilet paper rolls. You can use paper towel rolls. You can find pieces of cardboard that are thin, and you can just roll them yourself. You can cut them in half so they're only a half sphere, and then you can use those to make tracks for yourself that you can roll a ball down, or you can roll another item down, or let an item slide down. And they're really good at being able to transport something from one place to another. Also, one of the most utilized items that you'll see in Rube Goldberg's is the domino. So we have these dominoes, and I have a ton in my room, so please don't worry about purchasing them. But dominoes are great because when you set them up, if you space them out well enough, they can easily cause a chain reaction that will also allow you to let them go. You can cause a chain reaction that will let them fall over, and you can move them wherever you want when you're doing that. Now, dominoes are great, but they do take some time to set up. So I would recommend that you don't go more than 8, 9, 10 dominoes. Try not doing like a chain of dominoes that's like 20 dominoes long, because anytime there's any slightly little bit of force put on your table, anytime somebody walks by and some air goes by, or somebody bumps into your table, or even you're setting them up and you accidentally knock one over, it knocks them all over. So I would highly recommend that you limit your use of the dominoes to just 4, 5, 6 dominoes, just to transition from one spot to another. But dominoes can also slide very nicely down tubes, so you can use them that way. You can stack them up, and if you need to elevate something, you can use them to stack up, or you can also stack them up and use it as something that knocks over, which then creates another chain reaction. So they're very versatile. You do have to take your time when you're setting them up, but they're real versatile, and I would highly recommend using those. Again, I have a ton in my room, so don't worry about purchasing them, but if there's certain ones you want to purchase, that's fine. A little bit easier than dominoes that we've looked at over the years are Jenga blocks. So if you have an old Jenga game, or you just have Jenga blocks laying around because you had a game, but you lost some of the pieces, these can also be set up just like dominoes. They're a little easier to set up because they have a wider base, but they work in the same concept. So you can knock them over and they'll fall over like that. So really good to use. Again, good for stacking, good for doing a lot of different things with. So game pieces from any different type of game are really good for that. On wooden blocks, we can also use, your basic wooden blocks that you use as like stacking building toys. You can use them to angle things. So if you have a ball rolling, it can redirect the ball to a different direction. You can, again, use these to stack things up that can get knocked over. You can use them as weights to weight something down, and then if it gets knocked over, it tips something over. I mean, there's a lot of uses for things like blocks. So again, you hear that I'm using a lot of toys, and I highly recommend that you use toys. Also, one of the biggest used items are Matchbox cars, or Hot Wheels cars, and that is because, again, with the rolling element, they're really good for transferring something from one spot to another, and they're a little bit more controlled than a ball, because a ball can actually roll any direction that it wants to go, whereas you have a little bit more control over which way a car goes, because the wheels are set just going straight, whereas a ball can end up rolling off in all directions. So Hot Wheels cars, great to use. Cups, so just simple cups that you can use. Again, you can use these for stacking purposes. You can use them to hold items in. You can punch holes in the side, have something swinging down. If you set the cups up right, you can actually have them roll into each other, and they will cause a chain reaction in that way. So you can do a lot of things with simple items just like cups. String, again, can be utilized for multiple elements of your Rube Goldberg. You can make something that swings down like a pendulum. You can use it to tie things together. You can use a string where when it gets knocked over, the string pulls something else, and that creates a chain reaction for that to use. Simple things like note cards or playing cards can be used to also make either tracks or make things that can stand up. So you just simply take a note card, you can either bend it in half like this, tape a couple of them together, and you have a little track that you've just made that a ball could roll down or a marble could roll down, and it'll keep it in place, keep it a little bit more controlled. Same thing with playing cards. You can take them, you can bend them, and utilize those to make a track as well. Finally, just your imagination. So I had students last year that wanted to make a little bit more of a controlled track. So they took popsicle sticks and tape, and they made themselves a nice little track that they used. I believe it was for a car to go down. But the car could go down a little slower and not at the speed that it was going initially, which was too fast. I had students that took some styrofoam last year, and they just put some cardboard on the outside so that it controlled the way the ball was rolling along this track. But they were utilizing this because now you have a change in velocity. If the ball's rolling along here, it's changing the direction it's going. So there's your acceleration, change in velocity. So those are just a couple of ideas for common items that you can find in your house, common items that you can find laying around. I may have some of the supplies at school. I have definitely cardboard and stuff like that. That you can use to make parts of your Rube Goldberg. What you probably should start with your Rube Goldberg is coming up with your idea of what you want as your ending goal. What do you want the Rube Goldberg machine to do? And then at the very end, it does something simple. So we're going to have a lot of ideas for that. You can look at ideas online. I'll have a list of ideas posted as a resource for you as well. But coming up with that, and then I would start with that and work your way back through your Rube Goldberg, making sure that you get your more than 4 stages and everything. That's it. Hopefully that helped you out a little bit with some things that you can use to help with your Rube Goldberg. And we'll be in class if you need any more help. All right, bye.